Tonight on Nights Around the Fire, we're hunting Bigfoot in Westmoreland County. And Sue has some stories for you that I think you'll enjoy. And I'm glad you can join us today. I'm David Tomsic, and this is Sue Taylor. And we're here to serve you with the best paranormal stories we can find. And tonight, of course, it is Bigfoot. Sue?
All right, we're going to Westmoreland County. So I have an interesting description of the placement of Westmoreland County when we get to where exactly Westmoreland County sits, but a little background for everybody who's not from the area. And Westmoreland County, you guys have a great website detailing out your history, so thank you for that. It made my research very easy this week.
Historic Westmoreland County.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is. All right. Westmoreland County was founded on February 26, 1773, and was the first PA county whose entire territorial boundary was west of the Allegheny Mountains.
Wow, okay.
Yeah. As of the 2020 census, the population was 354,633. And that is over 1,036 square miles, with 1,028 square miles being land and 8.5 square miles being water.
Seems like there's some water up there.
Yeah, which I didn't really think about, and I didn't do a ton of digging into what that water is, but can you think of any lakes or anything? Lakes, rivers?
Well, I'm sure there are, but I have not been to them, so okay, I'm going to grant them the water pass here. They must have water.
And we'll talk about where they probably are located here in a minute. Okay, it sits in southwestern PA, and it is close to Pittsburgh. It just isn't on the same lineup as we are. So if you look at the map and you think about it, Allegheny County is here. Westmoreland, a big chunk of it is right here, and then a little tiny piece of it touches Washington County. So when you look at it, yes, Westmoreland County has got some rural areas, but it's also sitting right up against Allegheny County.
That is true, and if you've ever been there and go from there to basically Pittsburgh, it's not a far trip, considering the size of the county. So, yeah, it's sort of a tri-county area, and obviously Bigfoot has an address there.
They do, and to tell you the location to Pittsburgh, the largest city in Westmoreland County is Murraysville.
Yeah, and that is a nightmare to go to, friends. If you have to travel in Pittsburgh from where we are, you go through 2 tunnels right to the city and to one of the most crowded areas in the area. So be wary about that.
Yeah.
Okay, so what else about Fayette County?
So it's known as the gateway to the Laurel Highlands. Makes sense.
Right.
Okay. And it sits right above our friends in Fayette County. So that should tell you a little bit about where the wooded areas are versus the urban areas.
Folks, you're looking at a map right now where these places are. We hope that helps you kind of adjust your viewpoint from where we are here in Washington County.
All right. So we're talking about Bigfoot tonight, obviously. And we are going to one of our favorite sources to start out with, which is the PA Bigfoot Society.
Now, the good old PA Bigfoot Society.
PA Bigfoot Society. And I picked this particular story because it is from Youngwood.
Okay.
And the reason I picked that one is because I have a friend who lives in Youngwood. And we were just talking about all of the weird stuff that happens near him.
Boy, you have a lot of people that have a lot of weird stuff happening to them.
Maybe I just hang out with a lot of weird people.
I've got nothing, friends. Go ahead.
All right, so we're going back to July 30th, 1982. I was 2 months old.
Just a baby.
Just a baby. Bigfoot didn't know this yet.
No.
Okay, so here we go. After hearing strange moaning and whining noises earlier in the night near a capped gas well, 2 couples heard a rustling sound coming from their left near a baseball field. A man noticed that about 25 yards away, something large and dark in color appeared to be moving close to the ground. The group got up and looked in that direction. One of the men noticed that his friend's eyes were very large as he stared intently at something. That's when he saw it. Something huge, about 7 to 9 feet, was standing upright beside the baseball backstop. One fellow yelled for everyone to get out of there. His friend, though, stood for a couple of minutes observing the creature that appeared to be motionless at that point, while the rest of the group slowly backed away in fear. But when it began to move quickly toward the group with long strides and long arms swinging, fear took over them and they ran toward the road that led down the hillside. One woman began screaming and had to be pulled along by her husband to leave. After quickly reaching the bottom of the hill, they looked back and saw the lofty creature moving towards the hillside as though it was going to come down the hill after them. They continued home and called the police. The police did go to the location, but nothing was found. The description of what they saw was that of a huge, hair-covered, man-like creature that stood between 7 to 9 feet tall and was estimated to have weighed 350 to 450 pounds. Let's go back to that in a second. Dark fur covered its large, muscular upper body and legs. Its arms were long, and its hands hung down to its knees. The creature at times stopped and stood with its legs slightly bent. When it walked, it moved in a forward arm-swinging motion with an unusual gait. Now, this came out of Really Mysterious Pennsylvania by Stan Gordon.
I know Stan Gordon, we do.
Okay, so I'm not super familiar with Stan Gordon, but I have one of Stan Gordon's other books on its way from Amazon because we are going to cover that book in our UFO and Bigfoot discussion near Uniontown.
Okay, fair enough.
Okay.
I'm excited about that.
So that's going to be a good one, but before I point something out to you, what do you think of this sighting?
It's very odd to me because, okay, so Bigfoot hanging out next to a baseball backstop. Is it
Let's go
possible
Bucks.
they have a baseball team? Okay, just saying. But first of all, what were they doing there? Is it night? Is this at night?
I believe it was, yes.
Okay, this wasn't at night? Because, again,
Actually, it doesn't say.
okay, we don't know if it was night or day. We're going to say day. Good. Let's just say daytime. First of all, 7 to 9 foot tall, 300 pounds. I know people 300 pounds that aren't even 6 foot tall.
Thank you. That is exactly where I was going with that. I went, that doesn't make any sense to me if it's 7 to 9 foot tall, because we talked about the 8-foot creature last week and how big it had to be. And now we're going 7 to 9 feet and it's only 350 to 450 pounds.
Yeah, I'm guessing if it's 7 to 9, it's at least 1,000 pounds.
Yeah, so 350 would that's a very low estimate.
Just be based on descriptions of people from the past. These things are thick, muscular, and of course muscle weighs more than fat.
And this one, they did describe it as large muscular upper body. So there was definitely muscle seen with this one too.
So yeah, I mean, most people aren't good at guessing weights. So maybe that's just their error. They just, well, that's a big guy, 300 pounds. Well, in a human sense it is, but not so much with a Bigfoot.
That would actually be a very thin creature.
Yeah, maybe he's on a diet. But no, we would think it's much, much larger than that, much heavier.
The Fresno Nightcrawler.
Yeah, we don't want to go back to the Fresno Nightcrawler. If you haven't seen that video, check it out. It is a fun video. By the way, if you enjoy what we're providing you here on Nights Around the Fire, consider hitting the subscribe button right now.
Squatch that like button.
Squatch it hard and share the video. We're a growing channel. We want to grow and get our content out to more and more people. And if you have a comment, please leave it in the comment section. And if you have basically something you want to talk to us about, you can use our email, strangeworlds777@yahoo.com. We want to hear from you. Check that out right now. And don't forget, subscribe.
All right. So let's go to another city in Westmoreland County, which is Greensburg.
I'm very familiar with Greensburg.
Yes, Greensburg. We know Greensburg very well. And so this one is from August 13th of 2013. So, okay, not terribly long ago.
Not far.
So a man walking his dog at night heard wood knocks and then a tree fell from a different direction. He then saw a 7-foot-tall, dark, grayish-black creature that took a few long steps and disappeared into the tree line. Grayish black.
Well, was it night or day again?
Night.
How do you really tell color at night? I can't.
Everything looks...
So he heard tree knocks on one side, and then a tree falls on the other.
Yeah. Bigfoot was surrounding him.
I think so. I think there was probably more than one, and we believe and that Bigfoot communicates with tree knocks, sort of like a telegraph. I believe that. I know you do. We don't have evidence. We don't have like a book that says, yeah, the Bigfoot communicates with wood knocks, but we believe that's true. And obviously there was another Bigfoot somewhere that very easily knocks trees over. So let's go with that. Very interesting.
Yeah. Okay. So let's talk about one of my favorite roads in the state of Pennsylvania.
Route 40?
Route 30.
Oh, my second favorite's Route 30. Okay.
That's fair. Okay, so Route 30, for anybody who doesn't know, is also known as the Lincoln Highway. And the Lincoln Highway was a big deal because before Route 66 was a thing, the Lincoln Highway was the cross-country route from New York City to California. It starts right in Times Square, like right in the heart of Times Square. And I used to drive Route 30 a lot because my aunt and uncle used to live directly on the Lincoln Highway in Somerset County, which
Lucky
is
them.
why I
Yep.
speak so fondly of Somerset County, who will get their own Bigfoot episode in the coming months.
Yeah.
Now, do you know what else is along Route 30?
I'm waiting to hear.
A big chunk of Chestnut Ridge.
That is right.
Yeah.
A big chunk of Chestnut Ridge. And we know that Chestnut Ridge is a hotspot for Bigfoot activity. Look it up.
So I like this story because I know exactly where this story took place. And we will talk about that in a few minutes as I read the story. So the story is from May in 1988, and it's from Ligonier, which you know Ligonier well.
Very well.
Okay. So it was a place called Sleepy Hollow along the Loyal Hannah Creek. Now, the reason I know exactly where this is this is right after you come out of like Greensburg and Latrobe and you start to go into the mountains. And there used to be a restaurant right there called the Hollow Tavern.
I remember the Hollow Tavern.
Yeah, so it's closed now. I don't think it survived the pandemic.
I don't think so.
Yeah, but it's closed now. So it is still sitting there. At least the last time I went up there, it was still sitting empty along there. And then the creek, the building's right on Route 30, and then the creek runs behind the building.
And it's a pretty large creek.
Yeah, it's a big, like, it's definitely, like, it could be river status if you looked at it.
If it rains hard, it's a river.
Yeah. So a man was preparing to do some lantern fishing when he saw a large, strange, foul-smelling creature that he said would make an extra large gorilla look like a chimpanzee.
Well, here we go.
That is a great comparison.
It is definitely technical.
Yeah. Okay. So the witness said that he was about to light his lantern when he heard a scuffling racket on the hillside about 25 feet away. In the beam of his spotlight, the creature appeared. It appeared to have red-brown fur and large, fiery eyes that glowed orange like the eyes of a bear.
Orange. Here we go.
So there's a lot in that statement.
A lot.
Yeah. So do you want to talk about it now or do you want to go back to it in a minute?
Well, we can go back to it in a minute. There's a lot to unpack there.
Yeah. The man said the creature was approaching him in an unfriendly manner. He ran to his car and left, but not before seeing the creature in the headlights. The man had 50 years of experience as a hunter, tracker, and live tracker, so he knew what he was doing in the woods. And he said it wasn't a bear or a gorilla.
Not bear, not gorilla. Okay, we got you.
Not gorilla.
We caught that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, we got you, buddy. Okay. So, large fiery eyes that glowed orange like the eyes of a bear. Do bears have orange eyes?
I've never saw a bear with orange eyes, but again, it was at night, right?
Yeah,
He
was going lantern fishing. Yeah.
And he's using a lantern to illuminate the creature. Anything goes there, I think. We can't use that as it was orange. We don't know.
I just thought that was strange that he said it definitely wasn't a bear, which, again...
Well, if he's seen a bear, we've talked about this. Not bear.
bear.
Not bear.
We've got this. We're going to go over this all the time until everyone understands.
Yeah. We know we still have people that are confused, but bear with us.
We've got this. Pun intended.
Yes.
Yes. But I just thought it wasn't a bear, but it had orange eyes that glowed like a bear.
Yeah. Again, light reflects from animals differently.
Yes.
So we use that as an excuse. We don't know.
No. So as you're going up Route 30, this is where Route 30 gets very remote very quickly. After you get out of the Greensburg Latrobe area, you are out of the highly populated areas of Route 30.
Right.
And you are going to go through a lot of woods, a lot of farmland, and one of the parks that you are going to come right up to in this is Laurel Hill State Park, and there's also Laurel Mountain State Park is along here. I can't find any direct sightings from either of these places, but consider this openly soliciting one.
Yeah, if you've had a sighting up in those two parks, state parks, give us a line here. Make a comment or hit us with an email.
Yes. Okay, so we're going to go back now to the, now we're going to look at the BFRO.
Okay, the BFRO.
Those two were both PA Bigfoot Society, so...
and they don't have a rating system.
No, but you would say Class A's.
Both would be Class A's if it was done by the BFRO, right?
Yes.
Okay.
So the first one is from Fairfield Summer Camp near Ligonier.
I'm trying to picture where that is.
But it's roughly around that same area as where we were with that other one.
Okay.
We're just going to go back in time a ways to September of 1967.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
But this is a good...
I was 11 years old. Does that date me?
Nah.
Should I give away my title as Cannesburg's #1 podcaster? Not happening.
Nah. We don't call you Cannesburg's #1 podcaster for nothing.
Right.
All right. So this is a really good story. I liked this one a lot. So I was a camper at Camp Fairfield in the summer of 1967. I was 8 years old my first time at camp. It was sponsored by Willinsburg Baptist Church. Oh, Wilkinsburg. Okay, it's misspelled in the first word, but it's Wilkinsburg. Okay.
That's a city town. That's a city
town.
Neighborhood, should I say.
Which is not, that's still Westmoreland County, isn't it? That's over in the Murraysville side of Westmoreland County? Or closer to that way. It's on the parkway.
Very close to the border, yeah.
Yeah, closer to the border. Okay. So I lived in Wilkinsburg until I graduated high school in 1977. It was a 2-week camp, arrived on Saturday and left on Sunday 15 days later. We were assigned cabins by age. My brother, being older, was assigned a different cabin. There was about 10 boys in an open cabin and a counselor who slept inside with us. I had never really overcome a little bedwetting and had an accident a few days into camp. This opened me to huge ridicule and laughter, because kids are mean.
Mean.
I need to go to the bathroom late at night to prevent repeat occurrences. Okay. Only one problem, the common outhouse was about 70 to 100 yards down an unlighted path.
Of course it was. What could go wrong there?
Only in 1967 would they let 8-year-olds walk down an unlit path 70 to 100 yards.
In a camp where I've watched too many camp movies, maybe.
And there are bears up there.
Well,
I mean, bear attacks are rare, but there are real bears up there.
Just run off with one of the kids. Not a good thing.
No, it's the 60s. Okay.
Yeah.
There was no way I was going to use a flashlight alone at 8 and go to the bathroom. No, of course you weren't. No. We were not allowed to pee off the porch into the bushes for obvious reasons. I mean, okay, that's also understandable.
Yeah.
Yeah, I get that too.
Yeah, it wouldn't be a good idea.
No.
Not with a dozen boys.
No. So I devised a plan. I would wait until the older boys and the counselor would fall asleep, then sneak out a few feet from the cabin to quickly pee. This worked beautifully for about 5 or 6 nights. The head counselor always made head count about 11 o'clock. Because lights out was 10 o'clock, I would come down the path. He would come down the path and count us all by flashlight and go to each cabin counting. I would wait for this count, then after about a half an hour, sneak out and back in. This particular night, it was raining lately. I remember seeing the counselor with a yellow raincoat as he counted. He went on the path as usual. I remember at lunch, everyone was saying a bear had been overturning the garbage at night. Now, that could be a bear. Yeah, that could be a bear.
That's what bears do.
Yeah, that's a bear
smell your garbage, and they do go after it.
Yes. This revelation doubled my resolve not to venture to the outhouse after dark. Smart kid. Smart kid. This night, I heard footsteps return to the cabin through the forest, not the path from another direction. I thought it strange that the head counselor would return. He had never returned before. And why would he cut across the woods instead of the path? I heard walking behind the cabin, first to the right and then back to my left past my head. I heard footfalls come around to the front of the open cabin door. It was just a doorway with no door. Did they not like kids in the 60s? Like, what the heck?
We're not going to put any doors on our cabins.
What the heck? Anything could walk in there.
I got nothing.
Raccoons? Jeez.
I mean, any animal at night can come into that cabin.
Yeah. Not
just a bear.
Humans.
Yeah. I mean, anyway.
I mean, raccoons bite. They're cute, but they bite.
You ever hear rabies? I mean, I just don't know why they would put no doors on cabins. At least have a screen door.
Yeah. Wait, I mean, bugs, like mosquitoes. Like.
Oh, my Lord. That's right. Okay.
Flies. Okay. We're off
Now,
track.
we didn't say that the people who had the camp were bright. We're just saying they had a camp.
Yeah, I don't know anything about the people that ran this camp. I don't know if it's still there. I only know of one camp in that area, and we had doors on our cabin.
That was nice that they did.
Yeah.
You feel really more safe with a door on your cabin. Make that a Nights Around the Fire safety tip.
Door on cabin. Okay. So, we're in the doorway with no door. I look to see who this was at the door, and I see a gorilla-looking thing appeared in the doorway.
A gorilla-looking thing. Descriptive.
He did not step on the porch, but he was so big that he filled the doorway. He was giant. There were at least 4 steps, and his head was at the top of the doorway. Not on the porch, he looked directly into the doorway. I could see that he had black, brown fur and a cone-shaped head. Okay, that's a common Bigfoot feature.
Yeah.
His eyes reflected like a cat's eyes that were almost red and yellow mixed.
Here we go.
There we go.
We're back.
Mm-hmm. It was as if he could see me looking straight at him. I figured if I could see his eyes, then he could probably see mine. I squinted and tried to feign sleep, being too frightened to move, and didn't dare utter a sound or move a muscle. He stood there a good 2 to 5 minutes, and then he turned and headed up to the mess hall. Then I heard the distant garbage cans being turned over. I got up the next morning, asked, did a gorilla escape from the zoo because I saw him last night? And it was a gorilla overturning the cans, not a bear. See, the kid knows the difference between a gorilla and a bear.
Yeah, he didn't need any lessons from us.
No. I had never heard of Bigfoot and wouldn't hear of him again until some 7, 8, or 9 years later. I, being born in the ghetto, his words, not mine, had never heard of anything like that. Everybody cracked up and, being young, sloughed it off. I knew what I saw, and they were the dummies, not knowing that Africa wasn't the only place that had gorillas. So there's a follow-up to this one, but what do you think so far?
Okay, this is believable.
Mm-hmm.
He pretty much gave you the height of this creature. The doors are 6 feet usually, 7 feet, 6.5. The steps were 3 steps. You might be looking at 8-inch, risers. That's another 2 feet. This thing could be 8.5 feet tall. And if you said it hid the whole door, and above it, it could be 9 feet tall.
Mm-hmm.
That's a big creature.
That is a really big creature.
And the eyes, that's what we've been finding out on other of our shows, that people have seen orange or red eyes. A lot of red eyes.
This is getting very common. I used to think red eyes were the rare, but
Maybe
red
not.
eyes seem to be very common anymore.
And again, at night, light reflects weirdly, and we're not experts on light refraction, friends, but we don't know if this Bigfoot's eyes are red during the day or just at night when it's reflected upon by light. We don't know, but I would think that's still pretty scary for a young man like that.
Yes. Okay, so the BFRO interviewed this writer, and this was what came on the follow-up. I spoke to SM over the phone, and he was forthright and sincere on the account he gave me about his childhood encounter. He also states that although the encounter happened 41 years ago, he remembers it like it was yesterday. I wouldn't forget that either.
I bet he does.
Yeah. Okay. In the summer of 1967, 8-year-old SM was attending a summer camp that he described as being surrounded by woods and lakes. The camp is now called Antiochian Village. Does that sound familiar?
Yes, that does.
Being intimidated by the wilderness, at night, SM would secretly empty his bladder in the nearby bush rather than making the 80-yard trip from the cabin to the outhouse. So that's very common, is that inner city people are more intimidated by the wilderness.
Sure. Yeah, sure. They're not used to that. And if you ever gone to Wilkinsburg, it's mostly neighborhoods. It's all neighborhoods. There is some patches, and we've talked about this before. There are some patches of woods, but for the average kid that lived in an underprivileged area like Wilkinsburg, they don't have a lot of access to that. So I'm sure this really frightened him.
Yeah.
And the dark itself. And I'm sorry, I got to make a comment, Sue. Putting the outhouse, they might as well put it across the lake, and you have to go on boat. I mean, for little kids to have to travel 100 yards in the dark if you have to go to the bathroom is odd to me. But I digress.
8-year-old kids are going to have to pee in the middle of the night.
Yeah. Okay.
So one rainy night at about 10 p.m., after having been in the camp for almost 2 weeks, SM got up from his bunk to sneak to the bush, but he was stopped by the sound of footsteps coming around the cabin. Okay, so this was only about 10 o'clock at night, according to the follow-up.
Right, and that's when the counselor usually got done with his walkthrough, and the kid snuck out. Okay, that makes sense. It's the same story.
Thinking it was a counselor, SM hurried back to his bunk. Lying in his bunk and feigning sleep, SM saw a huge figure walk up to the doorway to peer into the cabin. SM described the cabin as only being about 12 feet long, with open windows and an open doorway. There were no screens or doors on the cabin. SM stated that the bunk was near the back wall and that he was only about 10 to 12 feet from the open doorway. 10 to 12 feet from a Bigfoot.
That's close.
Terrifying. When SM saw in the doorway was a hulking figure over 8 to 9 feet tall and covered with 3 to 4 inch wet, matted, dark brown hair. He stated it had a cone-shaped head and that its shoulder muscles went directly from its head down to its shoulders. He stated that the face looked like a gorilla, but it wasn't a gorilla, that it was different. He had the distinct impression that it was male because it had no breast and that the shoulders were wider than the waist. Okay. He also stated that he thought that it was an adult because of its overall mass, which he said was huge. Its arms hung down by its side, reaching to its thighs, and it had a slight pot belly. Poor Bigfoot. It had definite human-looking hands with 5 fingers on each hand, but he does not recall what its fingernails looked like. Dude, you got enough description. I'm okay with you not getting fingernails.
Yeah.
During this encounter, SM was sure the creature was observing him. He could see its eyes, which glowed reddish to yellow, and they seemed to be staring straight towards him. Although SM had no knowledge of what a Bigfoot was, and the only creature he could liken it to was a gorilla, SM maintains that he felt no threat from the creature. He states that there was no feeling of terror or danger, and it appeared calm and curious while it was looking at him. The encounter lasted between 3 to 5 minutes before it left the doorway. During this time, SM denied smelling any unusual odors and that the only sound it made was breathing noises. After it left, SM recalls that he could hear it walk back around the cabin towards the kitchen cabin. A few minutes later, SM could hear the sounds of garbage cans being turned over. According to SM, what he saw was not a person in a gorilla suit, and not a bear.
Bear, not bear. We got it.
We got it. He stated that it was a 100% living animal. After SM came home and related the story to his father told him a story that SM's grandfather had told him. In the 1910s, near Tifton, Georgia, his young grandfather and some friends were in the woods up to no good, as SM related. They were poking and teasing some kind of small animal when all of a sudden something screamed at them. Before they had time to react, something big and hairy came rushing out of the woods and chased them back to the house. Once back in the house and the doors bolted, the creature banged on the walls of the house, screamed, and could be heard in the yard all of the rest of the day and into the night. By the next morning, after making sure the creature was gone, they found that all of their farm animals had been killed.
What?
Wow.
An angry Bigfoot.
Mm-hmm.
It's never good.
But the kids, Bigfoot chases the kids back and he kills all the farm animals?
Yeah. That's bizarre.
That is bizarre. That whole story, that is right out of a movie.
I think it is. Yeah. I mean, again, this story was handed down, and we don't know how many of the facts might have been changed a little bit. And that does happen. But going back to this child's story, he said it was wet here. It was raining.
Yes.
Which confirms that that the creature was in the rain and that it obviously got wet. That to me is a key point out of all that he told the reporter, because it's something you might not necessarily say if you were making something up. It was wet. Well, yeah, it's pouring down rain.
Yeah.
And of course, we now know who was knocking the garbage cans over, and we now know why Bigfoot had a potbelly.
Yeah.
Eating human food, never a good idea. Never. Take it from me, never.
Yeah, he was living on whatever camp food they were serving.
Yeah, I mean, of course, he was lucky to be at a camp where they probably had kids that didn't eat their whole meal.
Yeah.
They threw it out, and he knew a bear necessarily, if it doesn't smell it, it won't come. And if you ever go into the woods, they'll tell you not to leave food out, to seal it up. And if you do, bears won't be able to smell it. But if Bigfoot knows what a garbage can is, he's going to go to that garbage can.
But this is another thing I'm going to give grief to the camp for, aside from the no doors.
Or windows.
And the outhouse 50 miles from the cabins. Why are you leaving garbage cans out there? There are bears out there.
Well, like I said, if it's sealed, a bear won't smell it. And they should know, having a camp, how to do that. The rangers will tell you in a park exactly how to do it.
Yeah, because you're supposed to hang it from your food and stuff from a tree.
Yeah, and you bag it where they can't get to it. But let's go back to these doors. I'm really. This isn't a cabin. This is a lean-to.
And that's, yeah, I mean, if we're going to call it a lean-to, that's fine. Because I know that some camps you go to and right. It's just a tent on a platform.
Right, but this is not a tent. I mean, I can see if you had a lean-to and you brought a tent or a sleeping bag. Now, maybe if you camp, friends, comment for me. If you've camped and you've been to a place like this and you know that a lot of camps do this, they don't have doors and windows, let me know so I can never go to those camps, because I'll be honest with you, as Sue mentioned, animals are attracted to people, smell and the sweat and mosquitoes and bugs and geez whiz, I have a back porch here 4 steps up. The rabbit comes up there and chewed my fan wire yesterday. Gone. So put screens and doors on your cabins. Anyway,
the last cabin that I stayed in had air conditioning, and I had a door with a deadbolt. So
wow. Yeah.
So
yeah. Well, Sue, we can tell where Sue goes.
Yeah.
It wasn't Nemacolin, was it?
No.
Okay.
No. No, a little further out from Nemacolin. Okay, so let's go a little more recent. Our other most recent one was 2013.
Right.
This one is February 16, 2014. This is along Route 66, but not the Route 66. It's our PA Route 66 in Delmont.
Yeah. Very familiar with it. Don't confuse it with Route 66 that runs through the desert.
Yes. Okay, so this one's officially, that one obviously was a Class A sighting. If there's a Class A plus sighting, I think that was a Class A plus sighting.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. We voted before we got on the air Class A.
Yeah.
Plus.
So this one is officially a Class B sighting. Okay. I picked my uncle up from work. We were traveling down Route 66 towards Delmont. We were traveling up the hill where the RVs are sold on the right-hand side near the gas facility. I actually know where that is.
Yeah.
I was driving 45 miles an hour when my uncle said, "What the hell is that?" I asked what he saw, and his reply was, whatever it was walking on 2 feet. The sighting was quick, no longer than 5 seconds, at a distance of 70 yards on a cloudless moonlit night, so nighttime. My uncle said the subject was walking up the steep embankment that is covered in almost a foot of snow and bare trees.
Wow.
Okay. On the brush behind the RV building on a horizontal path on 2 legs towards the wood line at the top of the hill. He described the color as a uniform black, with no distinguishing clothing. The size, he said, was at least his size, maybe bigger. My uncle was 6'4" and 250 pounds. I feel like you guys are really underestimating these Bigfoot. But this one could have been a juvenile. And he even said it was the size that caught his eye. We can't think of any reason a person would try to traverse such a steep incline or even going to the top of the hill, as there was nothing but woods once you reach the top. My uncle said it was spooky because he couldn't think of any reason either. I laughed and jokingly said it was Bigfoot, and with that my uncle started rambling about even if it was, no one would believe us. So they sent it to the BFRO. Now, they gave this one a Class B sighting. I'd give it a Class A sighting.
Yeah, we might have to overturn that ruling from the BFRO. It sounds like he physically saw the creature.
Yeah, he saw it. And I thought Class Bs were like screams, wood knocks.
Well, he did have, not an up close and personal viewpoint, but right. I think people generally don't just walk straight up a hill that size. I mean, I'm guessing, I'm looking at it as, I don't know anybody that's going to walk up a hill that steep to get to the woods. I mean, what are you doing? The one thing that would do it is a Bigfoot.
Absolutely.
The size, yeah, we can't really make a comment there. We don't really know how tall it really was, and everybody does underestimate the weight. If you see a football player, they're big people, and you're looking at the most someone weighs is 320 in football. I'm sure there's a few more over, but the biggest are 320, 315, 299, and something 6'5", 6'6", 6'7", got to be in the 400 to 600 pound range if it's under. But you get to 7-8 feet, you're looking at 1,000 pounds or more.
Because, okay, so if the uncle is 6'4" and he thought it was about his size, so let's say that it was bigger than him at 7 foot.
Right, so you're looking at probably 900 pounds.
Yeah.
Now remember, because these things are so muscular, so wide, it's not just the height, it's the thickness.
Yeah.
They're not fat generally, and from what we've seen.
Well, and that's what I was going to say, is they're not going to, they're not in a position where they're going to get fat. Like, they're not like house cats or anything where they're just sitting around and sleeping and eating things. Like, they have to hunt for their food. They have to search for their food.
A lot of calories burned.
Yeah, and they're eating, like, leaner stuff, plants and leaner meats, as opposed to...
They're not hitting garbage cans over and eating Twinkies and Tot Dogs.
Right. And they
from
might
the camp.
If they get lucky.
Well, right. So, yeah. So there's a lot into this. Folks, I mean, Bigfoot is an enigma. We understand that we don't know a lot about it, but you can make some pretty scientific claims about a creature that lives in the woods, is that size, guessing what it eats. We know meat, and we know probably berries, and who knows what else it may crave. And we know that it just walking around at 7 foot, should I say, 400, 500, 600, 700 pounds, whatever it is, burns a lot of calories. So there's a lot to these creatures. It isn't just a monster walking around the woods. They have to have a life cycle. They have to have a diet, and they have to have a method to keeping themselves alive. So, if that means you're in their territory and they get angry with you, and they think you're taking its food source, rock throwing, screaming, yelling,
knocking, which we've seen in a lot of our other videos where Bigfoot has indicated that he wants the human to leave.
Get out. And like I said, you don't want to be grabbed by a Bigfoot. And the joke here is that you can be tossed. And we always say most likely they'll toss us west into Ohio.
Yeah, maybe Indiana. Depending on how fired up he is. That day.
Don't send me into West Virginia. That's way too wooded.
You're going to find a lot more Bigfoot down there.
Yeah.
If you go to.
Yeah. West Virginia. We are going to talk about West Virginia.
We are going to
in
talk
the future.
About West Virginia.
Keep an alert on there.
Okay, so we're going to deep dive Chestnut Ridge at another episode, but what do you think of our taster episode of the Westmoreland County Bigfoot?
I think it's fantastic. I think all the sightings were definitely easy to believe. I think they were legitimate. Definitely A sightings. They claim B, the BFRO, but we're claiming A. Mm-hmm. Either way, it's a solid sighting, and it's the pattern. We know the pattern now. If you've listened to Bigfoot stories in the past, there is a pattern most of the time, except where they killed all the farm animals.
That was weird. That was weird.
I have not heard that from any other investigator or anything I've ever read, that they went in and killed all the farm animals. Now, I guess you can have a rogue Bigfoot. You have rogue bears, right? Maybe. But I think that would be the exception, not the rule.
And you have friends that live in Westmoreland County, right?
Yes.
That have had some interesting sightings.
Yes. And they know people that have been there all their lives, because these guys did not grow up there. But they lived there for quite a few years, and they know the stories, and they know people that have firsthand accounts in Chestnut Ridge of Bigfoot.
And I think Westmoreland County is a good balance between very urban and very rural.
Right. You get into the, basically the urban areas, it's very crowded. But once you get out of there, you're in the mountains. Mm-hmm. You're bordering Somerset County. Mm-hmm. You're in the, basically the mountains. And a lot can happen, and a lot does happen.
Yeah, I recommend if you're in our area and you have a chance to drive up Route 30, go ahead, take a drive up there. There is a museum there that is the Lincoln Highway Experience. I have never done it, but there's some YouTube videos. Jacob the Carpetbagger went through there, and it looked like a pretty interesting trip. Ligonier is a great little town.
I love Ligonier. We go up 2-3 times a year. Winter, they have festivals there all the time. Cute town, a lot of places to eat, and it's a beautiful town nestled in the mountains, and I believe you'll enjoy that as well. And I really never talked to anybody about Bigfoot up there as often as I go up, and I may ask some questions next time I go up there to see if there's any stories.
See what you find.
Oh, that was definitely a grade A story today, Sue. All 4 of them. Thank you, folks. If you enjoyed them, let us know. Make a comment in the comment section. If you have a question for Sue or have some suggestions for us, email us strangeworlds777@yahoo.com. And if you enjoy our content, we again ask you to subscribe to our channel.
Squatch that like button.
Squatch it hard, and of course share the video with someone who might also enjoy these type of videos. Again, thanks for watching. Anything else, Sue?
So you want a teaser of what's coming up in the future?
Let's get a Sue teaser right now.
All right. So as we've talked about, we're going to talk about the Stan Gordon book and the incident with the UFO and Bigfoot in Uniontown. That'll be coming up in the next couple of weeks as soon as Amazon gets my book to me. And then we are going to deep dive a book that we have talked about at great lengths here at our show. And no, I am not talking about devolution. I am talking about 100 Bigfoot Nights.
Right. So stay tuned for that. A lot of interesting things. I know you'll enjoy it. I know you'll love it. So stay tuned, and we'll see you next time right here on #1 Paranormal Podcast in Canonsburg, Nights Around the Fire.
Bye, guys.
Check you out later.